Emil Hurst Jr., Real Entrepreneurs TV, successful former 9-to-5ers. Very excited about this episode. We have LaConya Murray, brand attorney, owner of Off the Mark IP Solutions. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing awesome. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm doing fantastic. First of all, thank you for your time. I know it's a very interesting time going through this COVID situation. First of all, what was normal day-to-day business like for you, and now how has it pivoted during this situation?
I can tell you that it's still going the same. So normal for me, I've always been virtual. I started my law practice out being virtual intentionally because I live in a place that I'm not from. And in my mind, I was going to move, but 12 years later, I'm still here, right? So I was very intentional about having a virtual practice. Fortunately, I've left my physical location. For a short time, I had a physical location for no reason other than the fact that I guess I wanted a physical location because everyone said that's what real business owners do.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that falling into the trap of what falling in your own lane versus what other people expect from you. But I have an office space. I've been virtual my whole practice. So I still see clients via video or telephone. And I will tell you something. I told my mom this a couple of days ago. I've been busier now than I was before. Like for this year, like from the time we got out for spring break, that's when they kind of put us on lockdown. I've been busy. Like I'm busier now than I was in January and February.
Why do you think so?
I think that a lot of people, I think there are two mindsets. I think there are people out there that are in the mindset that, oh, things are changing, so everything is bad now. People don't have money, this, that, and the other. And you have other people who are in the mindset of there's money to be made, there's business to, sales to be made, so let's go get it.
Yep.
And the people that I'm working with are just going business as normal, as one. And then two, you have people who are using this time to actually work on something that they've been wanting to work on, but they didn't have the time.
Yep.
And so now they're like, oh, I have this opportunity. Let me go ahead and tie this up.
Yeah, perfect. And you have an interesting story in itself. So Real Entrepreneurs TV, we're No Excuse Zone. Tell us about your journey with taking that leap from the 9-to-5 into entrepreneurship to where you are right now. What was
awesome? And so my story, it starts even before the 9-to-5. So I wanted to be an attorney since I was like middle school, right? So I knew I was going to be an attorney. When I got to high school, I knew I was going to be an attorney that would work with business owners. Got to college, had a baby, partied a little bit too much, I tell people I lost my mind in college because I wasn't used to it. Like I left a house where I couldn't even sit outside without my brother being there. But my mom was like, oh, you want to be outside after 6?
Right.
Is your brother going to be there? Mind you, my brother is younger than me, right?
Right. Oh.
So I went from that to being out on my own, so that was one thing. And my grades suffered. And because of that, I had to go to law. I wasn't able to go to law school now, and I have a baby to take care of. So I went an traditional route. But in the interim, after I graduated undergrad and didn't get into law school because I still applied, right? I went into the apartment business. So I was leasing apartments, and then I became an assistant manager. And it was there that, and I was making good money at that time. So 9-to-5, making really good money, leasing apartments, and then helping the managers. I was the rent lady. If you didn't pay your rent, you heard from me.
Right.
So making really good money to the point that when we decided to move and come here and I left my job, the person that was helping was like, look, you really want to leave all this money and start all over? And I was like, yeah. So someone came into my office. A tenant came into my office. She put her notice in and said that she's leaving and moving to Montgomery. And I asked her, what about law school? And she said, well, I'm going to transfer. I'm going to go to Jones. I said, well, why would you leave a school that's accredited and go to a school that's not accredited? And she said, oh, well, they have their accreditation now. like registered maybe like 2 weeks later. Like I called, did the paperwork, checked the school out. They were accredited, had a tour of the school, and that was in May, and in August I started school. So I left a really good paying job so that I can go and pursue this. And I went into law school knowing that I was going to have my own practice. Like I knew I was going to have my own practice way back in high school. Like I knew that even though I wanted to work with business owners, that I didn't fit the corporate mode, because I've always been kind of my own non-traditional person, ideas, the way I dress and all that stuff has always been different. Is what my family would call me all the time, just a little different. So went to law school.
Real quick, do you think entrepreneurs are born or made?
Entrepreneurs born versus made. No, I don't think it's a born versus made. I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think it has to be either or. There have some people that are born into it, they just have this natural instinct. Then you have other people that definitely made, because of the circumstances that life gives them, they don't have a choice. When I first started practicing law, I did threshold law, which means anything that walked over the threshold I would do. And one of those things was criminal law. And I would always tell my criminal clients that were sentenced, because I did federal criminal, I said, take advantage of everything they're going to teach you. If they have a trade for HVAC or whatever it is, you learn that trade, because when you come out, you're going to need work. And the chances of you getting work with someone else is going to be very slim if you have a trade. And then some people are made out of necessity. And that was just one example.
That's awesome. So in your example, it sounds like it was born into you if you've been doing it all your life. So what would you say to that? That's true?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And my dad would totally agree with you. He told me when I was working at the apartment business, the reason I kept getting promotions because I was getting bored. Like I would do something, master it, and then be like, okay, what's next? I'm about to quit if you don't give me something more challenging. Like there has to be something more than this. And he's like, look, you don't have to work for yourself because you get bored way too easy. Like you can't work with someone. Like he told me that. And I didn't pay him any attention because, okay. But that's true. There's never a dull day in entrepreneurship.
I agree.
Never.
So let's get back to the story. So now we are in law school. We already know that we're going to have a private practice. So tell us more about that time in law school.
In law school. So in law school, I started the time program because here's the what they call a plot twist. Didn't know this, but by the time I started law school, I was pregnant. Like didn't know when I got accepted, when we were buying the house and everything, had no idea that I was pregnant. None. But you know who did know? My realtor. Because she kept saying, because I was going to use the extra room as an office. And she kept saying, oh, this would be a great place for the baby. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, nobody's talking about having kids. I'm trying to go to law school and make things happen. But I think that she worked part-time, like volunteered with pregnant just by looking at you if you were pregnant. Like people would like kind of sneak and bring their daughters over and she'd be like, oh yeah, she's pregnant. Wow. And so this lady, she knew I was pregnant. I had no clue. And how old? I had 2 kids in law school. Goodness, older. I went to law school later. So how old is this child? So I was 28.
Okay.
I was 28.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So because now my kids are 12 and 10. So I had 2 kids. So now I have 3. All 3 of my kids in school. Told my husband I'm never going back to school. Every time I go to school. So he said that's not how it works. But I'm like, look, I don't know. You can't tell me any different because I think that's how that works.
Okay.
But so 2 in-law on the night program, the day program, because I couldn't. The night program was supposed to be 5 years. Now we got 2 kids. I don't have 5 years to go to school and then start waiting to make money. So I moved to the full-time program, doubled up my case, my course load, so that's 5. In the interim, while I'm in law school, I applied for jobs, but people were hesitant to hire me, especially because I had little babies. I had particular firms say, no, it's going to be too much for you, and yada, yada, yada. That was fine. End up working for an attorney, best position in my life. And I tell people all the time, if you're looking to learn, if you just want to, get in there and see what it's like, work for free. Like I'm not opposed to doing some stuff for free to get the experience. And so he was looking for an intern, unpaid position, and I applied and I got the position, and he was a solo. And the reason it was a great position is because he was a solo attorney, solo practitioner. He had his own law firm, and that's what I wanted to do, right? So I was able to learn a little bit about having my own practice, and he was such a great mentor. Everywhere he went, he would take me and introduce me to people. So that's the thing. Even if you're working for free, there should be some benefit for you. So he wasn't paying me, but he was making sure that people knew who I was. And he building my network, getting my name out there. And then once I showed him that I could do the work on my own stuff, he did pay me. And then I actually worked there for a year after graduation. And as soon as I passed the bar, he was the first person calling judges and saying, "Hey, we got an attorney here. She just passed the bar. What you got for her? What kind of cases can you give her?" First person to do that. So I'm like forever grateful for that. Now he's on the bench. He and his wife are on the bench now, so that's pretty awesome. But I did work for them for a year, and then I started my own practice. And so that was pretty awesome.
So tell us about that feeling when you started your own practice, that week of when you knew that you were going to quit. What was that like?
Because the relationship that I had with he's an employer, but he's a friend. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to quit. So this is a conversation. So I started my practice in August. This is a conversation that we had starting probably back in February.
Okay.
So this is something that they knew was going to happen. For me, it was more about getting my website up, getting cards, let people know what I was doing. But it felt good. It felt kind of scary going out and saying, okay, this is all me now. But at the same time, as an attorney, and especially with the position and the role that we had, I was doing that. Like I was going and getting my own clients and things of that nature. You got to have hustle when you have your own practice. You can't just sit back and wait for people to give business to you. So if you don't have that hustle, then you're not going to do well. If you don't have that hustle and you're not in position to hire someone that has that hustle, because at a certain point in your business, someone else is doing that for you. But it was great. It was pretty awesome.
And how did you choose which niche of law that you were going to get into?
That's a really good question, because as I said before, when I first started, I was a threshold lawyer. If it walked over that threshold, I would do it. So criminal, disability, dependency cases, I would do it. All things that I didn't really care for. I decided to niche down, one, because I have this practice now and I wanted it to be virtual. I wanted to make sure that when I left, because in my mind I was leaving, I didn't have to shut down a law practice. And I always wanted to work with business owners. In high school, I would identify my friends' talents and say, based off these talents, this is your entrepreneurship. Like, this is the business you're going to have. And I'm going to be your lawyer. That's what I would do all the time. So I knew I wanted to work with business owners. And so for me, the question was, what can I do? How can I work with business owners in a way that doesn't tie me to a specific location? So I did a little research and I was like, oh, intellectual property. It's federal. I can work with clients throughout the United States. Okay. Boom. So that's how that happened. Okay. And that's how that happened. And so I started my practice in August. I probably started August 2012. I started niching down in about toward the end of 2013. So I did. And when I niched down.
Because a lot of people, when they first get started, just like how you were a threshold attorney, they feel like if I'm in a restaurant business, I just serve people that's hungry. If I'm in a mechanic business, I'm just serving people that have broken cars, and that's not always the case. So how did you know that you needed to niche down to actually scale up?
Well, one thing about me, like I'm a reader, so, and I've never had my own business before. So in between clients and things, I would just read and research, and I was seeing what people were talking about niching down. I was like, well, that's cool, because what I'm doing now, I really don't care for. So for me, it wasn't even, there wasn't any fear associated with niching down. I knew that I wanted to do it. So, and that's just one level of niching down. Picking a specific area of law, that's just one level of niching down. Then you niche down even further and say, okay, I'm working with traditional professionals, so not just everybody. I'm working with doctors, lawyers, teachers, people who have traditional jobs but are looking to transition. So that's another level of niching down. That's so good. For me, that niching down to that specific area, it wasn't too scary, because I knew that's what I wanted to do, because I had other reasons. It fit my personal goals as well as my professional goals. I wanted to do something, to build a practice that I can do from anywhere, but I also to help business owners. So for me, it was a win-win. And it was an area of law that, because we were quick to, we're so creative. We are awesome people. We're so creative, but we don't understand the value of that. And so we just let it go freely and then get mad when someone steals it, because we didn't know what to do to protect it. So I felt like that was just an area that I was meant to practice in.
Yeah. So, and for the people that don't know, including me, what is intellectual property, and why do I need an attorney?
Okay, so intellectual property is property of the mind, the stuff that we think of and we create and we bring to life. So again, that goes to that creativity. So intellectual property, there are 4 types. You have trademarks. Trademarks protect brand identifiers, which say, let the consumers know the source of a good or a service. So if you have a business and people are looking for you, you want them to find you and not someone else that's similar to you or trying to be you. And if you are the owner of a trademark, you are able to exclude other people from using your same or similar trademark. So that's one. Copyrights protect works that are in an original, fixed, tangible form. So as a business owner, we have tons of copyrights. We have this podcast is copyrighted material. We have our marketing materials. We have our logos. If you have a graphic heavy logo, we have our books and our courses. We have copyrighted material. So you want to be able to make sure that when you're creating this, that no one else can just copy it and pass it on and just resell it. Also have patents. Now I tell you, I believe in operating in your realm of genius. Patents are not in my realm of genius. My sweet spot are trademarks and copyrights. But patents protect inventions and some systems and processes, which give you, with patents, what they do is they give you between a 14 and 20 year license of exclusive. Like, you're the only person that can use this particular thing for this time. For example, I'm gonna tell you an example of a patent that I did not know, and it just blows my mind. The Pringle can. Did you know the Pringle can was protected by a patent? Because normally when you have chips,
it's in a bag.
It's in a bag.
Yeah. Okay.
But then their patent expired, and as soon as that expired, guess who else started coming up with that can?
Lay's.
Now, yes. But that's why it took them so long, because they couldn't do it, because it was protected by a patent. And this stuff is just fascinating, like the things that you can do. So when you're building a brand and when you're creating, you have to know about intellectual property so that you can build your way, so you can build your brand in a way that's unique and stands out and can be protected. So you can create content and marketing material and things that can be protected and provide another source of income. Because also, when you have this intellectual property, yes, you own it and you can do something with it, or you can license it. The 4th type of intellectual property is trade secrets. Now, a trade secret is not registered. However, it's something that gives you a competitive edge, and if someone were to know about it, then you would lose your place in the market. And that's, again, but it's based off of your mind. So intellectual property is so important because it gives you the right to exclude others. And when you exclude others, that means they have to come to you for it. And when they come to you for it, that means you can put a price tag on it, right? So that's awesome. And we need to know what that is. So when we're negotiating, if we don't know the value of what we're doing, Famous Amos, the cookies, he gave away all of his rights, trademarks, use of likeness, because he was short on cash for a period of time. I forgot who it was, but then when he got back on his feet, he tried to start selling cookies again, using his space, and they were like, no. Are you using his name? They were like, no, you can't do that. You signed all that over to us. An attorney to help you is because it's complicated. It's complicated. Anything really dealing with the law is complicated. But when you start dealing with intellectual property and who owns what, it can get complicated. And it seems easy, but if you fill out something wrong, or if you move in, you end up messed up. So you at least want to have someone advise you on what you can and cannot do, should and should not do. You should hire an attorney for that.
So what do you say to the person that has that's in the industry that's not what they feel is as artistic? So we get it for musicians, we get it for artists, but for the person that has a construction company, or that's a real estate developer, or a mechanic, why do I need
or a mobile car wash provider? Yeah, you still need a trademark, because trademarks are brand identifiers. You don't have to be a creative person to build a brand. You're a business. So your brand is how people recognize you and how you stand out in the market. If you're just doing, what's the movie? Madagascar. I don't know if you have kids or not. I have kids, which I told you about. So Madagascar, I think 2, when they make it to Africa, and they go to make it to Africa, and Marty is the zebra. And in New York, he's a commodity. There are no other zebras, right? But he gets to Africa, and there's zebras everywhere. Everybody has stripes. And his friend, I can't even recall his name right now, couldn't pick him out of the crowd because everybody was white with black stripes, right? He didn't stand out. And so that's kind of how I think of branding and marketing. Like, if you're doing something, people always say, oh, this field is crowded. It's not that the field is crowded. Don't worry about yes, everybody might be doing something, right? But how are you standing out? What brand are you building? Not just visually on the outside, but also what do you stand for on the inside? So no matter what business you're in, you're going to have a brand. Damon John said it best when he talked about branding. He said that trademarks, basically his point was trademarks are valuable. Like, if he had to choose between trademarks and patents, he'll get the trademark, because at the end of the day, people recognize brand and they're loyal. Like, they're loyal to what they know. So even if you make some changes to the formula with that brand, people are still going to stick with it.
Yeah. Off camera, you told me an interesting story about CocaCola. Can you tell that to our audience? Because I had never heard this story before.
Oh, absolutely. So CocaCola, he had a partner, and when one of them died, and so the remaining partner in the estate of the deceased, they were kind of fighting over who was going to have what. And it was decided that one would get the formula and one would get the name. The one that got the formula was like, yes, I got the formula, I got the go. This is what people love, our drinks. They can't stop raving about it. And he shortly found out that what he had was not as valuable as what he thought, because he went out of business. Turns out people were more attracted to the brand. So the person that kept the name is the person that made the money. Even though the form was changed, people recognized that and they were loyal to that brand. So now Coca-Cola is still, and you still see it here today. So again, brands have value. Branding has value.
Real Entrepreneurs TV, we have LaConya Murray here, brand attorney. So for the person that's thinking about starting a business and hasn't actually began, how does a brand attorney fit into the pre-launch aspect of a startup?
So if you're thinking about starting a business, it depends on where you are. So if you're just in that planning phase, you can be, before you come see me, you need to have some sort of idea of what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You bring a brand attorney in when you're starting to actually build that brand, when you actually start working on the visual part of it. So when you're coming up with your trade name, when you're coming up with your logos, you want to hire a brand attorney because you want to make sure that you're not infringing on anyone else's intellectual property. Okay. And this is whether or not you plan on filing for trademarks yourself. You just want to make sure you're started out in the right way. Because what happens often is when you don't do that, is you go and you invest this money in branding before you launch, and then you get ready to launch, you launch the business, then you come see me and I say, oh, I'm so sorry that you can't get your trademark because it's already taken. And you're like, so what do I do? Oh, you rebrand before you get a cease and desist in a lawsuit. Like, and I had someone reach out to me for one project and they didn't retain me because they ended up doing something else, got a partner and went on a different business venture. And then like a year later, my phone just starts blowing up. I'm like, who is this? Why? And so I called them back, and what happened was they were, I guess it was going to be 3 of them at one point. Then one person left. And when that person left, they started the same business with the same name. The other 2 people didn't know it. And so they're building a brand, getting ready to launch, invested like $10,000 in marketing. And then they received a cease and desist letter right before they were getting ready to launch. And they're like, what do we do?
Right.
Like, but if they would have filed, like I had talked to him about filing an intent to use application, which protects you while you're in that building phase, but they didn't do it. And if they would have done that, then they could have just laughed at that cease and desist. They could have sent their own cease and desist. So that's why you talk to a lot of people, you just don't, and then you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
A lot of people don't know. So now I think trademarks are like a buzzword now, but people still don't know what they are.
Nope.
They just know it's something that they need, but do I really need it? Why do I need it? How does it work? What rights does it give me? What can I do once I get this trademark? Right. So this trademark, this buzzword, people are going filing their trademarks themselves, and they're lost. You know. So.
Yeah, but hey, LaConya, I am an aspiring entrepreneur right now. I have 0 budget. I gotta buy business cards. I gotta get office space. How do I afford a brand attorney right now? So what is the misunderstanding of how much it costs for this type of advice, and how could you help?
And that's the thing. When you're starting a business, I think it's foolish for you to think you can start a business with no money. And so for people who they leave their 9-to-5 to start their business without having a nest egg, I think that's unwise unless you have to. You let God fund your business. And some people are in that instant gratification phase where I just got to leave and stuff. And then you also have the other people that shame entrepreneurs who are still working a job. And I say, forget that. First of all, who is that shaming you? Someone with no business? You know, like, don't listen to that. Let your 9-to-5 fund your business. And I'll tell you, so for me, when I niched down, on the outside, it looked like I niched down all the way completely. Because that's all I was doing. That's all I was marketing. All I was marketing were my trademarks, copyrights, and business development services. On the back side of it, I was still taking federal appointments, taking criminal cases, because I needed to fund my business, because people didn't know about me. Because I just jumped into it, niched down, because I thought that's what everybody needed. And people were like, what? What are you doing? What's the trademark? You know? So I was using the other stuff to fund my practice. And that's what you have to do. So it's about sacrifice. Like, if you think that you can just go and start a business without any type of sacrifice or any type of skin in the game, and people are going to give you stuff because you're just starting out, you're foolish. I'm just going to say it like that. No, that's not how that works. So get a part-time job, because you're not only going to need a trademark, you're going to need a website. There's a whole lot of stuff that you're going to need.
Right.
And stuff you're going to need before you need a doggone business card. Do you really need office space? Like, for real? Like, I had office space. But the only reason I had office space, I never needed office space though.
But
like, when I niched down,
you don't know what you don't know.
It's not even that I thought I did. But it's not even that I thought I did. It's that, well, all my colleagues are talking about having an office space and saying, and basically that's what lawyers do. You know, we have an office space, but I had this office space and I had a nice one. I had a 4 office suite. I was the only person in there, bathroom, kitchen. I was the only person in there. Like, I would get up and go to work and I'd be the only person in there. Mind you, I didn't mind because I like being by myself. But this whole quarantine thing is not phasing me. Like it's like normal day to day. Like, I'm good. But why am I spending all this money when I don't have to? Because, and to me, sometimes in entrepreneurship, we try to do the traditional route, just like people who go to school because they go to college and get a job, because that's what we were taught certain things as entrepreneurs as well. Like, you need to have an office space, you need to hire employees, and this, that, and other. Well, there are situations in what the way technology is set up now, you can build $1 million businesses and with no employees. Now, that's not saying you're doing all the work yourself. You can hire contractors and companies to outsource and do the work too. But we got to shift our mind in the way that we build our business. And so I was stuck in that trap of this is what I'm supposed to do. And I got out of it because I was like, it's not benefiting me. It's not benefiting me. So yeah, you gotta follow your gut and your own vision, because God gives you a vision. I truly believe that He gives you a vision. And sometimes when we look around and we're like, well, He gave me this, but I don't see it anyway. I don't see anyone else doing it. Duh, you don't, because He gave it to you.
Definitely. So other people in that position talk a lot about support. So from the time when you left that internship turned job right before you went full time, what did support look like when you took that leap? Was it there? Was it not there? Talk a little bit about that.
I've always had support. Even when I was a kid, 8 years old, spouting I was going to be an attorney, they, supported me. And it was like, oh, okay, she's going to be an attorney. She's going to be an attorney. My cousins would entertain me when I would go visit, and my favorite game to play was school. And they would indulge me, and play along and let me do that. My teachers would, in the summertime, I went to programs where they would give me like the textbooks. They knew that I would use them and play with them. I've always had support, so I've been very blessed in that way. Even if it's not family, someone is helping me, And sometimes people, they don't know. Like, they might say, "Oh, are you sure you can do this?" Or, "I don't think you can do it." But what I've learned is that you just got to show them. My husband, when I was, like I said, we had 2 kids while I was in law school. So I was going to school at night, and he was at home at night with the kids, giving bottles, putting them in the bed and stuff of that nature. So I've always had support. Even if people can't afford to hire me, they are sharing my posts. They're referring me to people. So I've been blessed in that way. And I think that one of the reasons that I've had support is because I didn't expect support. Like, I know that support is they don't have to. So I'm not mad if someone doesn't support me.
Right.
I focus on the people who do support me.
So what's your advice to the person that has the dream, that has the skills, but is not surrounded by that type of support that you were fortunate to have? Because Real Entrepreneurs TV, we are a no excuse zone, right? So that's not an excuse.
You find them.
Okay. How do we do that? You
find your community. We have the internet. So you have Facebook groups everywhere. There's someone, you find an entrepreneur. If someone's out there in that position right now, you can join my Facebook group. It's a group for entrepreneurs. You can join Lamar Tyler's Facebook group. It's a huge community of entrepreneurs, because that is very important. Matter of fact, that's why I started my Facebook group and even a mastermind a few years ago, because I knew my husband got tired of me talking about business and work. Because that's all I talk about, because I'm passionate about it. I love it. So I was looking for a community of people who were also doing what I was doing, not necessarily practicing law, but running their own business. So if you don't have it, sometimes you have to be what you're looking for. And you have to step outside of your situation and your community and go and intentionally seek out what you're looking for. With the internet, I feel like you said, there's no excuse. An entrepreneur, you can find a meetup. You can go to, I think they have meetup.com or Eventbrite and find entrepreneur events in your town. You can connect with the chamber and find people who are like you in your town. Like and if there's not in your town, you can get on the internet and you can find your group to connect with. Like like you said, there's no excuse. But you have to be but what you do is, instead of being down about the fact that no one in your community or no one that you're surrounded with supports you or thinks like you, let them be and let them live their life. Don't judge them. Don't be upset with them, right? But you go and find what you need. You go and find the support that you need and let them live their life. Yeah. Like, don't expect them to be like you. I think a lot of times when I see these posts about friends and family not supporting this, that, and other, like, let them live that. We weren't trained and raised to value entrepreneurship in our community. You know, there was Dr. Claude Anderson. He said that it's criminal that we as a community are having kids and we're raising kids only to send them out to someone else looking for a job, like send them out to someone else's community. Like, no other race does that. So we weren't raised in that way. So they think that and you can't fault them for that. You have to show them better than you can tell them.
Yeah, I agree. We have LaConya Murray here today, Real Entrepreneurs TV. So we want to introduce you to our fire round right now. So these are two questions that we ask surprise. We ask each and every guest. So you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, got it. What is the one book, if you had to go off and you had to take one book with you, what is the one book that you'll take with you?
Ooh. Oh man. Does it have to be business related?
No, it doesn't.
I love books. Yeah, okay.
You can only take one, and you're going far, far away. You can only take that one book.
That I'm reading over and over again. Do you know how many bookshelves I have in this office? I have I have 3 bookshelves in this office. Oh, one book. I'm thinking, you might have to give me a minute. So I'm like, one book.
The house is on fire right now.
That I can do.
You have to take
the house is on fire, and I'm gonna cheat and take my iPad with all the books on there. But no, I'm gonna take the first book that popped in my mind when you said that was E-Myth. I know if I take my but the first book that popped in my mind was E-Myth.
Okay, good. I remember that.
Yeah, but that I don't think that I want to be stranded with only that one book. You know what? One book I would take. I take that back. I'm looking at it now. The Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay, I heard it out.
I would take and read that book. Oh, if you haven't read it, please do. It's a great book.
People who have heard about it,
money and talent and just
okay. That's what I would ask. What's the biggest takeaway from Richest Man in Babylon why would you take it?
Because people assume that you get rich and wealthy by having a lot of money, and that you have to have money in order to be that. But you can take a little and turn it into a lot if you're disciplined and practice basic principles. And it's just a fable about those principles. And then when you start applying it in your own life, you're like, wait a minute, how did I get all this money saved up? Like, how does that work? And it's written in a way that it's just easy to read and it makes sense. And I think that everyone needs to read it. And I can read it over and over again because there's always something to be. As a matter of fact, I might read it again this weekend. It's a quick read too.
Really?
And it's a quick read.
Okay, we'll make sure we put that into the show notes. And now, so same thing. You lost everything today, right? And you had to get it back. What would you do to get back to where you are now? If you lost everything today.
I lost everything today, I would do what I'm doing now is I would go and I would get on other people's platforms to extend my reach so that people would know who I am and what services I have to offer.
Okay.
Because I can keep doing what I'm doing. Like, and so that's even, you know, even in these times I'm in a group with other attorneys and like, oh man, I think I need to change my practice area, or I need to add in the practice area because of what's going on, is showing me that people aren't really spending money in this area. People are always going to be creating businesses.
Yeah.
Like always. And even if I have to shift, so I'm not your average attorney because I don't just practice law. I also teach, I have courses, I have books, I speak. So I'm creative in that way. So I just have to get those things out to the masses because no matter what's going on, people are going to need that. So that's commerce. That's the only way that we're going to survive with our businesses being built and growing.
And thank you for that. That's the fire round for sure. So you did well. I surprised you. You did well. You did well. So I am an aspiring entrepreneur. I'm talking about the audience right now. Why should I hire LaConya versus whoever I Google and comes up first in the Google search ad? Why
would you hire some random person? You hire someone that you connect with, that you talk to, that you say, oh, you know what, I can trust this person, I like this person. And so whether you're hiring me or anybody else, I'm just going to be real with you. Check the reviews. Check YouTube. You want to see if the personalities are going to mesh, because I'm honest with you, I'm not for everyone. If I sat here and say that everyone needs to hire me, that's BS. Everyone doesn't need to hire me. And if I'm being honest, I don't want to work with everybody. Right. I don't. I do not want to work with everybody. I'm very selective, which is why I'm able to say that I have the best clients in the whole wide world, because I love them to pieces. But you just want to check them. You want to check the Google. You want to check the YouTube. You want to check their website. And you just want to make sure that they actually, and you want to schedule the time to talk with them, even if it's an assessment, just to see if they can do what you need them to do. And so I would say hire me. For my clients, I don't use legalese. I don't do that. I talk to people like normal people. My goal is to make sure that you understand what's going on. Even if you hire me, all my clients have an understanding of the trademark process and what's going on, because it's basic. Like, we are not going to have a Rihanna situation where you're going to be looking, where's my money, because the accountant ran all off of it because you weren't able to pull up the worksheet and the sheets and say, oh, something is off. So yeah, I'm just a real person. People say hiring me is like, and talking with me is like talking to their best friend, just kind of like their girlfriend, just hanging out, chilling, and just keeping it real with them. Yeah. I'm not very funny. I always say I'm funny, hee hee, not funny, ha ha. So yeah, that's who I am. I'm not a loud person, but I don't believe that you have to be the loudest person in the room in order to make a point. Yeah. And so if those qualities mesh with you and then I'm the attorney you want to hire. And I'm going to get the stuff done. I love what I do. It makes me happy. Like, it literally makes me happy. This is not something that I'm doing just because my other practice areas aren't working out. Right. You know, I'm doing this because I truly have a passion for it. I love it. I can talk about it all day long, and we have a need for it in our community. And what advice would you give to the LaConya Murray that started their first day with the private practice? If you had the opportunity to talk to yourself, then what advice, knowing everything that you learned along this journey, what advice would you give to LaConya at that point? When I first started, my advice would be to let people know who you are and what you do. Like, make sure that people, let me change that. I would make sure that people understood the value of what I'm doing, because I understood why people needed it, but people didn't understand what it was. And make sure that I get in front of the right people. And actually, I'll change that. I will make sure that I didn't have a business plan in the beginning. And so when I in the beginning, I didn't have a business plan. So when I started, I just kind of was like, hey, everybody, this is what I'm doing. If I had a business plan, I would have known who I was trying to work with, and I would have put myself in front of those people a lot sooner. So it took me a few months. So I niched down in November, December, and then about February, I was like, you know what, this is not working. I need to find something. And I ended up finding the Black Enterprise Entrepreneur Summit. Registering for that as a vendor, and then attending in May, and that really changed my business trajectory of my business by going to that one event. It kind of put me on the map, but I knew where to go. So by that time, I had put together a little business plan. Like, at least when I say business plan, I'm not talking about a business plan that you write for other people. This is like for me, like, who do I want to serve? What's my mission? What are my values? How much it's going to cost? Like, all that stuff. Where do I need to be? So I had done that. And so I was able to find this event, attend this event, and that's when my business started making money. So I would have done that a lot sooner versus went into it with the plan.
Okay, and I'm glad you said that. When you say business plan, I can immediately see somebody stopping and saying, well, now, LaConya said I need a plan. I'm not going to start my firm, or I'm not going to go full-time until I have my plan. That's not an excuse not to execute. It's good to have a plan, but you don't have to have it to take action. You can form it while you're taking action.
But your plan helps you take action, and you don't have to take all day on it. I actually have, let me show you this. I actually have, let's see, one of these little things here. It's a business plan workbook. It helps you take action. You just complete it. It's not something that you have to spend all day on. You can spend a weekend getting yourself together. Don't let the plan, like you said, don't let the fact you don't have a plan cause you to drag your feet. Right. And what I tell people, this is what I tell people: if you can't sit down and put enough time in to do a business plan, just to complete this book, you might want to rethink this whole entrepreneurship thing, because you're going to sink if you don't have the patience and the drive to focus and make sure that you have, because this is just one step, right? So now you also got to do something similar to this when you get ready to create systems and processes, because without systems and processes, your business, you'll be a solopreneur forever, and you won't ever achieve the goals that you did. You didn't start a business so that you could be an employee of your business. Right. If you don't take the time to do your business plan and come up with the systems and processes, that's what's going to happen. So you need to see if this is something that you really want to do. And it doesn't take all day. So don't let that's not an excuse. Me telling you that you need a business plan is not an excuse for you not to. Me telling you that you need a business plan is what should fuel you to start the business plan, is get you thinking about your business in areas that you never thought of, so that you won't have any surprises and end up costing you less money in the long run, and helps you earn money faster. So that's something that you want to go ahead and get done. Like, yes, I'm excited about this. Let me think about this. Who do I really want to serve? Like, who really wants this shirt? Like, everybody in their moment has a t-shirt brand. Why should I start a t-shirt brand? Who am I serving? How am I going to stand out from everyone else? Now you got a business plan, and it's telling you that, and you know exactly where to go to.
Yeah. And once you figure out what's unique, you need a brand attorney to help you protect that.
That's right.
As well.
That's right.
Yep. And we appreciate you, LaConya. You have special promotions running right now. Particularly, we want our audience to make sure make sure they know about it. Tell us about the Own Your Challenge, Own Your Genius challenge, and the promotion you got going on right now.
Okay, so the Own Your Genius Challenge goes a little bit more in depth about the 4 types of intellectual property. It includes worksheets that help you identify your own intellectual property, so you know what you need to do in order to move forward and protect yourself. And right now it's on sale for $14.99.
Okay.
It's it's 5 days. Each day you get access to a different course module. And we do it that way so that you don't get overwhelmed. You don't get overwhelmed, and that way you also will get through it.
Okay,
and you can find that.
That's what I was about to ask. How can we find it?
If you go to LaConyaMurray.com and hit the shop button, it'll take you there.
Okay, and that's the Own Your Genius Challenge, and the workbook that you just showed. Can we find that there as well?
Yes, you can find the workbook there. I don't have one of my books. Like I said, I have all kinds of stuff. So I have a workbook. The business plan workbook is so awesome. I have people that have an MBA, that went to school for MBA. They're like, man, what I learned in my courses in school is in this workbook. Mm-hmm. And anytime I'm coming up with a new product, I run it through this. I actually, when I created the Brand Legally blueprint, the Brand Legally course that I have, that actually is a done for you or done with you course that teaches you how to do trademarks and copyrights for yourself. Mm-hmm. I ran it through the business plan workbook and ended up having my best launch. Like in the past, I tried to launch courses and would make like a couple $100, only get 2 or 3 people in. I ended up making over $10,000 in a short amount of time. Like I had like a very short window for promotion and I ended up making like $10,000 because I actually did the research and I was able to find, because I did the research, I was able to find information that helped me with my launch. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty cool. I was able to find out what people would pay for it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Yep. Well, thank you again for your time. Real Entrepreneurs TV, where we help educate, empower, and equip aspiring entrepreneurs. LaConya, I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to working with you. And say it one more time. How do you want people to get in touch with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
You can find me. It was really great on this show. Thank you for having me. You can find me at LaConyaMurray.com. If you go to LaConyaMurray.com, that's my website. Or if you're on social media, LaConya Murray, that's where you'll find me. If I'm on that platform, it's going to be under LaConya Murray. I'm not on all platforms because I don't have time. Yeah. But LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, I'm on the basic one, so you can definitely find me there. But you want to go to LaConyaMurray.com, connect with me there, join the and can I tell you, I have a freebie as well. I have a freebie, and so if you are, I think that every business needs to have some sort of, every service business needs to have some sort of product. And I have a free training that teaches you how to create a signature product, a signature course or offering in a way that helps you create and protect your intellectual property. So if you go to LaConyaMurray.com, you're going to see a degree to dollars training, which helps you use your education and experience to own your genius, to help other entrepreneurs or help other people using your education and experience. So take the degree to dollars course. It's free, like 25-minute audio training. Okay. And you'll learn a lot.
Got it. Well, thank you so much.